There's a brutal truth most people never face until it's too late. The world doesn't stop moving because you're hesitant. It doesn't wait for you to heal, to feel ready, or to find perfect timing. Time doesn't flinch. Opportunity doesn't knock twice. Life doesn't ask if you're sure. Every moment you spend stuck in indecision is a moment life pushes forward without you. This is not motivational jargon. It's survival instinct. And the more you ignore that instinct, the more you fade into the background of your own story. You weren't designed to perch in safety, analyzing every detail until your hunger withers away. You were built for pursuit, for momentum, for action. Yet here you are, trapped in the paralysis of overthinking, numbed by comfort, scrolling through false starts and empty promises to yourself. You say you'll start tomorrow, but you're lying, because deep down, you know the truth. Every time you delay, you betray yourself. Every time you wait, you rot, not physically, but spiritually. Your clarity decays, your edge dulls, your fire dims. Action is not a luxury. It is the oxygen of your potential. There is no savior coming, no epiphany, no motivational high strong enough to carry you past the moment of hesitation. There is only now. There is only movement. You keep thinking that doing nothing is safe, but in reality, it's the most dangerous thing you could do. Stagnation doesn't preserve you, it erodes you. There is a cost to inaction, and it's always paid in regret. You don't feel tired because you've worked hard. You feel tired because you haven't moved in the direction of your power. You're carrying weight you were never meant to hold, the weight of all the action you never took. Think of the eagle. It doesn't ask the sky for permission. It doesn't wait for clear skies or soft winds. It sees the storm and launches into it, not to avoid the pressure, but to rise through it. It knows that no prey is caught from a safe branch. It knows that elevation requires confrontation, that altitude is earned in silence, not applause. While other creatures scatter for cover, the eagle ascends, not because it's fearless, but because it understands something most never will. You don't grow by avoiding the storm. You grow by riding it. This is your moment to rise, but it won't come gift-wrapped. It will come through discomfort, through decisive movement, through choosing action over thought. If you wait, you rot. If you move, you rise. Burn those words into your bloodstream. Say them again. If you wait, you rot. If you move, you rise. Every transformation begins with that decision. Not a perfect one, not a planned one, just a bold, defiant one. The kind of move that doesn't need validation because it's rooted in truth. You've been circling your calling long enough, orbiting the idea of change but never landing, waiting for the perfect mindset, the perfect time, the perfect day. But clarity doesn't come before the action. It comes because of it. Motivation is not something you wait to feel. It's something you create by moving. When the eagle dives, it doesn't feel confidence before the fall. It finds it in the speed, in the pressure, in the pursuit. You are no different. This isn't about productivity. This is about identity. Every time you move in alignment with your potential, you are proving to yourself that you are not prey, that you are not indecision, that you are not another whisper in the wind. You are the force cutting through it. So stop waiting. Kill the excuses. Starve the hesitation. Because the version of you that you're chasing, they only appear in motion. And the longer you wait to move, the further away they get. So what now? You already know the answer. Hunt, not tomorrow. Not when it's easier. Not when it feels good. Hunt now. Because this world isn't moved by those who think. It's moved by those who act. And if you're still listening, it's because the part of you that was born to rise, the part of you that flies when others fall, is waking up, and it's hungry. You keep telling yourself you'll start when you're ready. But what if I told you ready is a lie? What if I told you ready is the mask fear wears when it wants to look intelligent? You've been tricked, conditioned to believe that before you take the leap, you need clarity, strategy, approval. Like there's some magic threshold you cross where the nerves vanish and the confidence suddenly arrives. That illusion has kept millions grounded, staring off cliffs with wings that were built to fly, but never tested. Not because they weren't capable, but because they were waiting for something that doesn't exist. Flight begins at zero. Zero guarantees, zero comfort, zero perfection. And that's what makes it real. That's what makes it powerful. You're standing at the edge of everything you say you want, paralyzed by the myth that you have to feel ready to move. But readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's the moment you choose to stop negotiating with hesitation. You think the eagle knew how to fly before it left the cliff? It didn't calculate wind speed or test its form. It leapt. It found its wings in free fall. And the truth is, so will you. Because the first step will never look heroic. It'll look clumsy, messy, vulnerable. And that's exactly how you know it's honest. Your first rep won't be clean. Your first video will be awkward. Your first confrontation, your first boundary, your first sprint towards your potential, none of it will feel polished. But that discomfort, that's where self-respect is born. Not in the execution, in the courage it takes to begin anyway. You've confused preparation with progress, but you can only rehearse life for so long before it starts rehearsing your death instead. Over-planning is just fear with a clipboard, and fear is cunning. It knows how to dress itself up as productivity. How many times have you said, "I'm just planning," or "I'm getting ready," when deep down you knew you were just stalling, protecting your ego from the sting of doing it badly the first time? But let me tell you what's worse than doing it badly: never doing it at all. You don't rise by waiting. You rise by willing, by deciding to be the one who flies while everyone else is still flapping for approval. You rise by saying, "Even if I fall forward," because momentum is your ally. Movement is your weapon. The ugly beginning is your sacred rite of passage. And the longer you delay it, the further you drift from the version of you that's dying to emerge. Flight begins at zero. Say it again. Burn it in. Flight doesn't begin at confident. It begins at committed. That's the raw identity shift most never make. They wait to feel different before they act different. But it works the other way around. You act, and then over time, you become. You take the first swing, and the power arrives later. You take the first step, and clarity follows movement. You jump, and the wings are built mid-air. That's how evolution works. Not in theory, but in trial. The eagle doesn't rise because it avoids falling. It rises because it embraces the fall as part of the path. That first drop, the chaos, the disorientation, the rush of uncertainty, that's where the flight is born. You cannot bypass it. You must go through it. And in doing so, you stop being the spectator of your own life and become the author of it. This isn't a pep talk. This is a reckoning. Because every day you wait, your calling moves a little further from your grip. Not because it's being taken from you, but because you're refusing to take it. Every excuse you feed is another feather burned, another second lost, another version of you buried. So what do? You jump, without asking the wind to agree, without waiting for applause. Without needing a perfect script, you jump. Because deep down, you know the only thing more painful than failing is never flying at all. And if you think this part is hard, good. Because the next part, the part where you hit the storm mid-flight, that's where we'll see what you're really made of. But first, you leap. You've been too loud. Not in your words, but in your need to be seen. You keep leaking energy through explanation, approval seeking, waiting for someone to validate your pursuit before you fully commit. But the world doesn't respect noise. It respects outcomes. It respects execution. It respects the one who disappears, sharpens in the dark, and returns with something undeniable. You want to be powerful? Start moving in silence. Power doesn't speak. It arrives. You've been taught to announce everything, your plans, your goals, your transformation. But what you're really doing is trading discipline for dopamine. You post your ambition, hoping someone applauds, not realizing that applause is the same sound the crowd makes when you fall. You don't need to be witnessed to be worthy. You need to be focused. The moment you start performing for attention, you stop performing for growth. Let that sink in. Every second you spend explaining who you're becoming is a second stolen from actually becoming it. The eagle doesn't chirp. It doesn't ask for cheers before it flies. It doesn't broadcast its training or tweet about its altitude. It simply rises, silently, effortlessly. And when it cuts across the sky, everyone knows. Not because it told them, but because they can feel the wind shift. That's the kind of presence you build when your actions are louder than your words. When you don't need to say anything, because your results are already screaming for you. There's a reason the sharpest blades make no sound. The most lethal warriors don't speak before they strike. Precision is quiet. Lethality is still. You're not here to be liked. You're not here to be popular. You're here to become undeniable. That requires obsession. It requires patience. It requires the kind of self-respect that isn't fed by attention, but by progress. Real progress. Private progress. The kind that builds when no one's watching. You don't owe the world your process. You owe yourself your discipline. Let them wonder where you went. Let them question why you stopped talking. Let them miss the noise. Then drown them in proof. Because the truth is, when it's real, you won't need to explain it. The glow is in the grind. The power is in the pattern. And the silence is sacred. It's where the ego dies and the mastery begins. You keep saying you want to be great, then act like it. Greatness isn't loud. It's lonely. It's brutal. It's repetitive. It doesn't post. It doesn't beg. It builds. You wake up and you move. You execute without applause. You show up when no one's asking. You stay sharp in rooms nobody sees. And then one day, they look up and you're already flying. Let your work introduce you. Let your progress speak your name in rooms you haven't entered yet. Let your silence become a weapon. Because every second you're not being seen, you're sharpening. Every rep in the dark is a blade being forged. Every ignored day, a layer added to your legacy. Stop asking for permission to rise. Stop narrating your journey like the world is entitled to hear it. They're not. The less you explain, the more they'll feel you. The more you speak with your hands, your actions, your excellence, the less you'll need to defend your name. Your results will become your roar. So disappear if you need to. Go ghost. Pull back. Vanish from the noise. But when you return, don't speak. Just soar. You've been running from the very thing that was built to shape you. Every time it got hard, you backed off. Every time the winds picked up, The pressure rose. The pain dug in. You paused. You questioned. You stalled. But here's what no one told you. The storm was never your punishment. It was your proving ground. It was your gym. The resistance wasn't there to break you. It was there to build you. The chaos wasn't trying to bury you. It was trying to carve something deeper out of you. You've been asking for strength, asking for confidence, asking for power. And every time life answered, it didn't send you comfort. It sent you struggle. It sent you pain. It sent you isolation, failure, friction. Because that's how it works. That's how greatness is engineered. Not in calm, not in convenience, in fire. But you keep mistaking pain for a sign you should stop. You think friction means you're doing it wrong. You think adversity is a signal to back off. It's not. It's the starting line. This is the shift. The storm isn't your enemy. It's your gym. Say it again. Let it hit you. The storm isn't your enemy. It's your gym. The place weak minds won't go. The terrain average never trains on. Most people flee the thunder. They crave ease, chase shortcuts, scroll their way around discomfort. But nothing real is built there. No discipline, no edge, no spine. Comfort zones are padded cages, soft on the surface, deadly over time. But you don't need peace to rise. You need pressure. You need something to fight against. You need resistance. Because the strength you're after doesn't show up in stillness. It shows up under weight, under heat, under tension. The storm trains you. It's where you learn how to breathe when there's no air left. It's where you teach your body to move when your mind screams stop. It's where you build the kind of identity that cannot be shaken. Not because you were born strong, but because you chose to stay when others ran. Think about the eagle. It doesn't avoid the storm. It seeks it, climbs into it. Why? Because it knows that no other predator dares go there. The winds are too violent, the sky too unstable. But inside that chaos, inside that violence, there is altitude. There is freedom. There is dominance. The eagle uses the storm as leverage, as lift, as training. And that's exactly what you must learn to do. When your life starts shaking, when your plans fall apart, when everything you thought was certain collapses, don't run. Rise. When your mind floods with doubt, when fear grips your chest, when the path feels like it's crumbling beneath you, keep going. Because what feels like destruction is often construction in disguise. The breakdown is not your enemy. It's the moment your real self steps onto the field. And it will not be smooth. It will not be easy. But it will be honest. And that's what makes it sacred. Your ability to endure the storm is not about pain tolerance. It's about purpose. When you have purpose, the pressure becomes part of the process. When you have purpose, the pain becomes fuel. Every rep in the storm, every lonely hour, every setback and scar is forming something sharper inside of you. A mind that won't quit, a will that doesn't fold, a presence that doesn't flinch. You don't get that from watching. You don't get that from talking. You get that from entering the arena again and again and refusing to leave without growth. You let the storm hit you, then you hit back. Not with noise, with persistence, with precision, with presence. So the next time it gets hard, the next time the pressure mounts and your body wants out, remember this. The storm isn't here to stop you. It's here to sculpt you. Let it. Because the eagle doesn't rise in calm air. It rises through resistance. And if you're still standing in the middle of your chaos, if you're still breathing, if you haven't quit, that means you're already training. You're already flying. And the next time they ask where you've been, you won't have to say a word. They'll hear it in your silence. They'll feel it in your presence. They'll see it in your results. Because the storm didn't break you. It built you. You keep calling it peace. But deep down you know it's not peace. It's pause. It's stagnation dressed in soft lighting and false security. It's a comfort nest that started as recovery, but turned into retreat. A place you once built to rest, now a place you use to hide. At first, it was necessary. You were hurt. You needed to regroup. But now it's a cage. And the longer you stay, the more it rewires your instincts. You stop hunting. You stop risking. You stop becoming. The most dangerous part is it doesn't look dangerous. That's the trap. It feels good. It feels safe. And so you tell yourself, just a little longer. Just until I feel ready. Just until things are clearer. But clarity doesn't live in stillness. It lives in movement. Power doesn't come from sitting with your thoughts. It comes from challenging them with action. The nest is seductive because it's easy, because it tells you you've done enough. But enough for what? Enough to survive, or enough to evolve. You weren't built for sitting still. You were built for pursuit. Built to test your own limits and rip through the membrane of who you used to be. But that version of you, the one who moves, who acts, who builds in silence and bleeds for their future, they can't breathe in the nest. They're suffocating. And you know it. The tension you feel isn't anxiety. It's your potential screaming through the walls you built around it. You don't need rest anymore. You need risk. Eagles don't live in their nests. They return to them briefly, just long enough to feed. Then they're gone again, rising through storms, hunting at altitude, slicing through skies no one else dares to enter. The nest isn't home. The sky is. The hunt is. Movement is. The eagle doesn't mistake comfort for growth. And neither can you. If you don't burn the nest, it will bury you. Not all at once, but slowly. Comfort decays ambition over time. It dulls the blade. It whispers lies in your ear. You've already come so far. Take it easy. Don't push today. But those whispers, they're the voice of mediocrity, trying to sound like wisdom. And here's the real trap. Comfort doesn't just kill hunger. It kills identity. It convinces you that where you are is all you're ever meant to be. That your wings were only meant to stretch this far. But deep down, something inside you remembers the sky, the fire, the mission, the version of you that wasn't waiting for perfect conditions or external permission. The version of you that launched anyway, hurt anyway, grew anyway. That version of you still exists, but it doesn't live in this nest. It lives on the other side of your next move. You want to feel alive again? Get uncomfortable. You want momentum again? Start the thing you've been avoiding. You want discipline back? Throw yourself into the process, not the outcome. Your comfort zone is not your sanctuary. It's your sedative. It makes you forget how sharp you used to be, how dangerous you still could be, but not until you leave, not until you step out. Burn the nest, let it go, walk away from the safety net, and into the tension that forges transformation. Because comfort won't hand you purpose. Only pressure will. Only movement will. And if it scares you, good. That means it's real. That means it's worthy. That means it's exactly where you need to go. So here's the truth. If you stay, you'll decay. If you move, you'll evolve. Say it again. If you stay, you'll decay. If you move, you'll evolve. Now ask yourself, brutally and honestly, what are you still doing in the nest? The next scene won't wait. And the version of you that's rising, they've already left. You keep saying you're tired. that you're drained, burnt out, empty. But you're not. What you're feeling isn't exhaustion. It's wasted capacity. You're not tired from doing too much. You're tired from doing too little that matters. From being underused. From living miles beneath your own edge. And it's killing you. Not loudly, but quietly. In your spirit, in your posture, in your energy. That's not fatigue in your bones. That's fire with no direction. You wake up and feel heavy, not because life is too much, but because you haven't demanded enough from yourself. You've been gliding, drifting, floating through days that blur together because there's no edge to push against. You've avoided the climb, avoided the resistance, and now your muscles, physical, mental, spiritual, are atrophying. What you call rest has turned into rust. What you call balance has become boredom. And deep down, you know it. You're not tired, you're unused. Let that hit. You're not tired, you're unused. Energy doesn't come from escape. It comes from engagement. And right now, your body isn't screaming for rest. It's starving for alignment, for purpose, for real effort. You've been sipping just enough stimulation to feel busy, but not enough challenge to feel alive. You scroll, you snack, you distract, and still, the weight never lifts. Because distraction numbs discomfort, but it can't kill it. What you need isn't a break. It's a mission. You need something that stretches you, demands your attention, your blood, your sharpest hours. Because when you're aligned, fatigue becomes fuel. You don't collapse, you charge. You don't dread the day, you devour it. That's what your body is begging for. Movement, challenge, clarity through struggle. Look at the eagle. When it glides, it's not conserving energy, it's scanning, calculating. But when it dives, that's when it's fully alive. Velocity, intention, purpose, not wandering, not drifting. It doesn't wait for a second wind. It creates one by committing to motion. No hesitation, no drag, just precision and force. It doesn't feel powerful when floating. It feels powerful when chasing. And you've been circling the same altitude, convincing yourself it's stability. But it's not. It's stagnation. You're over-rested, over-pampered, under-challenged. Your soul is pacing inside a body that won't move. And you wonder why you can't sleep right. Why your heart races over nothing. Why you feel like you're missing something even when everything looks fine. It's because you're meant to fly harder, to work deeper, to move towards something real. You keep saying, I'm just burnt out. No, you're bored. You're underfed by your own standards. You've been playing a game 5 levels beneath your capabilities. And the only thing more exhausting than overwork is underliving. You want to feel alive again. Fly into your edge. Get uncomfortable. Move toward the tension instead of around it. Demand more from your mornings. Fight through the fog instead of sleeping through it. Your problem isn't effort, it's aim. You've been applying your energy to things that don't require your full self, and now your full self is fading in silence. This is the moment you reclaim it, not by retreating, not by shrinking, but by asking more from yourself than the world ever will, by choosing discipline over delay. By deciding that today, you're not looking for rest, you're looking for range. You're going to move, not because it feels easy, but because it aligns, because it calls you up, because you finally understand that energy comes from meaning, not escape. So stop saying you're tired. Say you're ready. Ready to climb, ready to bleed, ready to become what you've been avoiding. And when the voice in your head says, slow down, ask it this. Have I even started yet? The next section will ask more of you. But for now, rise. Because the eagle doesn't rest to feel alive. It hunts. And so should you. Discipline is not punishment. It's not sacrifice. It's not some dry system of restrictions meant to suck the life out of your day. No. Discipline is dignity. It's structure for your soul. It's the architecture that holds your potential in place when motivation crumbles and feelings fluctuate. And the people who don't understand that, they call it obsession. They call it rigidity. But they don't get it because they've never seen what it looks like to live on mission. You want freedom. You want to move through life with calm fire in your chest and clarity in your eyes. Then you need to stop treating discipline like a to-do list and start treating it like an identity. Not something you check off, something you become. Discipline isn't just something you practice. It's a language, a rhythm, the flight pattern of kings and those who rise. They don't rise randomly. They rise because their life is built on structure that can't be broken by feeling. This isn't about streaks or schedules. It's about self-respect. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, every time you move when comfort whispers take the day off, you send a message to yourself. I don't break for weakness. I don't bend for moods. I do what needs to be done because that's who I am. And over time, that message becomes internalized. It becomes the blueprint. Not because anyone's watching, but because you are. You want power. Stop chasing motivation and start earning identity. Because identity is what carries you through when energy runs out. You don't brush your teeth because you're motivated. You do it because it's part of who you are. That's where discipline needs to live. Inside the bones. Automatic. Unquestioned. Sovereign. Look at the eagle. It doesn't flap with frenzy. It doesn't burn itself out with unnecessary movement. Every wing beat is deliberate. Every motion earned. That's what discipline gives you. Efficiency without chaos. Power without noise. You're not reacting, you're responding. You're leading your body instead of being dragged around by your emotions. And yes, it's lonely. Discipline isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the quiet. In the dark mornings when no one sees. In the nights when quitting would be easier and nobody would judge you if you did. But you don't. Because something inside you is stronger than excuses. That something is called standard. And when you raise it high enough, it becomes your shield, your weapon, your guide. Each repetition, a feather forged. Every act of discipline, a thread in your wingspan. And day by day, without fanfare, without drama, you're building something unshakable. A frame that will carry you farther than talent ever could. Discipline doesn't make you faster. It makes you inevitable. So when it gets hard, and it will, don't ask for ease. Ask for alignment. Remind yourself, this is who I am now. Not someone who dabbles. Not someone who stops and starts. But someone who finishes. Someone who moves with order. Someone who embodies the weight of their goals with the strength of their habits. The world crowns kings not by their vision, but by their patterns. And the eagle, it doesn't just fly. It flies with purpose, direction, elegance earned by repetition. Discipline is the difference between the one who dreams and the one who becomes. So lock in. Lead yourself. Live it before you feel it. Because the throne you're after, it doesn't sit at the end of a goal. It sits at the end of a routine, done daily, with precision, with pride. And when they wonder how you got there, you won't need to explain. They'll see the pattern. They'll feel the presence. Because the discipline don't shout, they arrive. You've asked enough questions. What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What if I lose time, money, energy? What if it's the wrong move? You studied every angle. You've mapped the fears. You've buried yourself in research, hoping the anxiety would leave. It didn't. And it won't. Because this isn't a logic problem. This is a war. A war between the version of you that acts and the one that circles. Between the part of you that moves and the part of you that keeps asking for permission to be great. The truth. You're not stuck because of lack of information. You're stuck because of hesitation. You've convinced yourself that overthinking is a strength. That if you just find one more insight, one more quote, one more podcast, the fear will vanish. But fear doesn't vanish. It's outlived all your excuses. And now it's built a nest in your mind, feeding on your delay, breeding doubt in your stillness. But this is the end of that cycle. No more questions. Just war. Let that sink. No more questions. Just war. You want clarity? Move. You want confidence? Move. You want proof that this version of you is ready? Then prove it. Prove it in action, in decision, in a leap that doesn't wait for reassurance. Because right now, the voice in your head is no longer curiosity. It's sabotage. It's costumed hesitation. And it's killing your momentum. You've been circling your potential for so long that you've mistaken motion for movement. But nothing grows in orbit. You've got to land, strike, begin, break something. The eagle doesn't overanalyze its dive. It doesn't sit on the cliff trying to predict how strong the wind will be in 40 seconds. It locks in, it commits, and it descends with violence. Because hesitation costs, kills. You either strike with force, or you starve in fear. That's the game. That's the law. That's what every predator in nature understands. And you've forgotten. Your problem isn't lack of potential. It's lack of ignition. You're flammable, but unlit. Dangerous, but dormant. A blade that's been polished, but never swung. And what's the point of being sharp if you never cut through anything? So here's the reframe you've been avoiding. You don't need more answers. You need to get aggressive. You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting it. You don't need to feel ready. You need to move through the fear, not wait for it to disappear. Do it scared. Do it unsure. Do it messy, inconsistent, broken. But do it now. Because perfection is a myth sold to cowards. The ones who win don't move clean. They move committed. They don't wait to feel aligned. They align by moving. And when it hurts, good. That means the old version of you is dying. The indecisive one. The quiet one. The version that asked too many damn questions and never drew the sword. This is your kill moment. This is the part of the story where the hero stops hesitating and starts becoming. Not by whispering affirmations, but by throwing themselves into the fire, into the chaos, into the next hard move that changes everything. You want transformation? You want pride? Then give yourself a moment worth bleeding for. The eagle doesn't flap for reassurance. It dives in silence. No applause, no feedback, no audience, just the hunt. That's the level of commitment required. Not the kind that waits to be certain, but the kind that decides to become certain through motion. So what now? No more checking your phone. No more journaling about the plan. No more hypothetical scenarios. This is the line. This is the edge. Cross it. Burn the list. Make the call. Sign the contract. Press record. Launch the damn thing. Because clarity lives on the other side of courage. And war doesn't wait for overthinkers. It's time to stop circling and strike. No more questions, just war. And once you begin, don't look back.